So we got a lot of rain yesterday, and when I was over feeding the lambs last night and checking on all the cows, the creek was extremely flooded. I was really worried about the condition of some of our water gaps and our electric fence in that back pasture. So I went ahead and pinned up that bigger set of belted Galloways down here on the feeding floor. I knew they had enough stuff down here to get through the night, and I'd be back again this morning to check on them. So before I go back and check the water gaps in the fence, I need to get some of the sheep feed unloaded, and also I got a protein tub here to unload to give to the steers and the heifers down here on the feeding floor. This is just a 12% protein tub. Mostly we like giving this to them because it really helps increase their energy here, and when we're in the later part of winter, it adds a lot of nutrients and minerals to their diet to go along with the hay that we're feeding, and this comes from the same company and works well with the loose mineral that we feed. We've done this the last couple winters and we've gotten really good results from it. So this tub weighs 200 pounds, and the company that makes it recommends that before you give it to them, you score the top with a knife, which I did. It's rock hard. This way the animals are able to get a taste for it and know what it is, and they'll just basically lick on it and eat it down a little bit. It'll probably take them at least about a month to go through this whole tub. So we got this group of belties set up with a fresh bale of hay. They've already come over to the lick tub and started on it. So now we're gonna go out and check these water gaps and see how it looks. So this is the water gap that splits the front and back pasture. This is the one I just worked on probably about 6 weeks ago. That new panel that I just put in is tied up in all that brush. That high tensile wire that I had stretched across there, that cable, it's still on the tree, wrapped around tight, but it's super tight. Nothing I can really do with it. This area here is kind of wide open. I'm not sure if it laid the old panel over and it's just there a little bit underwater, or if it's actually pushed it all the way around into the rest of this mangled brush. Once this water gets down a little bit, we'll have to check, but this is going to definitely need some repairs. The fence is still putting out somewhat of a marginal current, but I'm just going to shut it off because I can already see damage to it, so I know it's no good. So there's a lot of corn stalk debris and debris on the electric fence there. You can see those posts laid over. Those two metal T-posts there were where our field panel was hooked to it to actually create the water gap over the creek. That is buried down in the water there. I'm sure it's broke loose because I don't even see the T-post here on this side. Our electric fence here is running down into the creek, where I imagine that coated wire we had running across is still connected to it over here. So that's why I pulled it down in. So that's definitely going to need repaired. Looks like a lot of mess just right there. Might even be missing a few posts. I don't know. I can kind of see a jumbled up mess there in the brush. So this area right here always stays a little bit wet, kind of like a little spring that bypasses the creek and it flows down into it this way. But last night, this whole area right along this ridge line was underwater. You can see where it washed debris here all up against the fence post. Actually took down my fence a little bit down this way. So we're gonna have to repair all of this. So I'm here checking on this final water gap. It's still standing. It's full of a ton of debris. This is the one I was most worried about because it's not in the best shape anyway. And it was about 90% submerged, so I thought for sure it'd have a lot more damage done to it. This one's really important because there's no fence that way into our field, so we need to make sure this one's always standing. That way the animals can't get out of the pasture, where at least there's multiple sets of fences to keep them in. But this one's still looking good. The problem is now the back pasture is basically unusable. Just because of the way the water gap is just destroyed. There's really no way to keep them where we want to keep them at. And so what I need to do, I think, is go ahead and let those steers that are there on the feeding floor, that set of steers and heifers, out here into the front, maybe just combine them with that other group. I think everybody will probably get along all right. I think that'll be best, just because I don't have to worry about, making sure that they have a set of waterers down there in the feeding floor, because I never did get that standalone waterer fixed. You can see how wet it is. They just ran through here. You can basically follow their tracks around. This ground's super wet. So we got them all here mixed in together. I've been watching them. They seem to be doing okay. They're sniffing each other, checking each other out. But so far, everybody seems to be doing all right. We wanted to mix them together anyway. It just today was a necessity to get it done. So we'll be back and check on them here in just a little bit. So when I got here to take care of the lambs last night, I knew the creek would be up. But when I walked over here and looked at it, I knew we were going to be into some trouble with our water gaps just because the amount of water that was coming down the creek and how high it was. Here we are at almost 24 hours difference. You can see in the photo I took last night, the water was almost up to that corner fence post there above my finger. That's a ton of water coming down this little creek. That's probably been the highest I've ever seen it since we've had cattle over here. So it looked pretty bad last night, and I'm really surprised. Most of the stuff just didn't get completely washed out, but all in all, really we didn't do too bad. Just have a couple to really fix. We were really lucky on that one. So that heifer calf that keeps hanging out up here by the lean-to and wouldn't follow the rest down, that's her right over in front of the barn, and this is her full sister right here. She's standing there, basically just there making some commotion. But this calf doesn't know that it can just walk right up here and come through a spot where I took down a lot of electric fence. I'm really hoping it doesn't try to bust through to get down to the rest of them and just tear up a lot of fence doing it. But really we'll have to wait and see. It can't get out and get anywhere. It just will get down there around the bank barn, and I try to keep them away from that. But we'll be back first thing in the morning to check on them. We got our Saturday market tomorrow, so I'll be over feeding these lambs, checking on these guys. Really won't have much time to get any real work done tomorrow unless an emergency pops up after our Saturday market. So I'm hoping that creek lowers enough here in the next 48 hours to where I can get some work done to some of the stuff that it tore up along the creek on Sunday. But that'll wrap up this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.